Dear students, welcome to Learn English. Today's lesson is going to be about ethics in business. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to correctly define ethics in business and list down ways of fighting corruption. Let's get started. So, we are going to start by defining ethics in business, and the first word is ethics. Basically, ethics is a set of moral principles or moral values that govern and control a person's behavior. So, ethics tell us how to behave in a particular situation. Ethics tell us what is morally right and what is morally wrong. For example, honesty is an ethical behavior. Therefore, it is considered as morally right. On the other hand, stealing money or embezzlement is considered morally wrong, so it is an ethical behavior. So, ethics is a set of moral principles or values that control or govern a person's behavior. Let's move on to business now. So, business is defined as the activity of selling and buying products and services. So, when you hear the word business, the first thing comes to your mind is companies. So, whenever we talk about business, we are talking about companies or businesses and firms. So, companies, businesses, and firms, they mean the same meaning. They mean an organization which sells and buys products and services. Now, inside companies, inside firms and businesses, we find officials. So, officials are the responsible of the companies, are the people who run the business of selling and buying products and services. So, we find also managers. Managers, they are officials. Their responsibility is to manage the company, is to manage the business. We also find employees who are simple people who work in the company. So, remember, when we talk about business, we are talking about companies, firms, and businesses. They mean the same thing. Inside the company, we find officials, namely managers and employees. Now, those employees, managers, and officials, they are controlled by a code of ethics. So, a code of ethics is a code or a document which tells employees how to behave in the company, what is expected from them to do and not to do. So, a code of ethics is the way of behaving in the company. What is or what are you supposed to do in the company? What is morally accepted or what is morally right and what is morally wrong? Therefore, we can identify two types of behaviors. We can identify ethical behaviors. It means how should the employees behave or how they must behave in the society or in the company. They also has unethical behaviors. It means what they shouldn't do, what they mustn't do in their companies. So, a code of ethics has ethical behaviors and unethical behaviors. It means what the employees should do and what they shouldn't do. Let's start with ethical behaviors. So, for example, honesty or employees, they should be honest. So, honesty is an ethical behavior which is required from managers, from employees, and officials in their businesses, firms, and companies. Another ethical behavior is loyalty. So, loyalty is also an ethical behavior which is required from employees and managers. So, honesty and loyalty means that employees or the officials or the managers shouldn't steal, they shouldn't lie, and they shouldn't steal. So an honest employee, he doesn't steal, he doesn't lie, and he doesn't cheat, which is considered as an ethical behavior. Employees, managers, and officials, they should also be trustworthy. So they must be trustworthy. It means they should behave morally, they should behave ethically in their companies. So, ethical behaviors are honesty, loyalty, and trust. These are the ethical behaviors which are required from employees, managers, and officials. Let's move on to unethical behaviors. It means the behaviors that the employees and managers shouldn't have. If they have these behaviors, it means they are corrupt. It means they are following unethical behaviors, and it means that they broke the code of ethics. Number one, if an employee is dishonest, it means that he has broken the code of ethics. It means he steals, he lies, and he cheats. Another unethical behavior is not being loyal. And number three, corrupt. So if an employee is dishonest and he or she is not loyal, therefore is considered as being corrupt employee. It means he has broken the code of ethics. So I recapitulate. So when we talk about business, we are talking about companies, firms, and businesses. All these three terms, they mean the same meaning. So inside the companies, we find officials, managers, and employees, and they have a code of ethics that govern and control their behaviors. The code of ethics tell them what they should do and what they shouldn't do. Therefore, we can identify ethical behaviors that the employees should have, like honesty, loyalty, and trust. And we can identify unethical behaviors. It means what the employees and the managers shouldn't follow, they shouldn't have, like being dishonest, being or not having loyalty, and being corrupt. Now, we move on to corruption. So, after this introduction, you have figured out that corruption concerns two entities. We can divide corruption into corruption that concerns companies and businesses and corruption that concerns officials, namely managers and employees. So we are going to see some examples of corruption that involves companies. Number one, we can say that a company is corrupt when it lacks ethical labor standards. What do we mean by lack ethical labor standards? For example, when a company employs or uses child labor, when a company employs a child who is under the legal age of employment, we can say that this company is corrupt company. So we can say that a company lacks ethical labor standards when also it has a bad working conditions. For example, when the employees are poorly paid, when the salary of the employees is not really high, we can say that the company has bad working conditions. Also, when the employees are working in bad conditions, it means they are working in situations which are considered as dangerous, hazardous, which they are exposed to accidents, daily accidents. So we can say that this company is corrupt when it has bad working conditions. So we move on to the second example, when we can say that a company is corrupt is when a company invests in dangerous or harmful products such as drugs, arms, and nuclear power. You know that drugs and arms are considered unethical because drugs harm people. Also, arms, they harm people, when they are sold in the underground economy, when they are used by the mafia, when they are used illegally. However, arms can be used legally to defend, for example, about the territories of the country. However, arms are considered as illegal and unethical when they are used illegally. Also, the companies which invest in nuclear power is considered a corrupt company. We move on to the third example. So a company is considered as corrupt company when it counterfeits, when it imitates products and it sells them to people. You know, counterfeiting is considered as a stealing of others' property, is considered as stealing others' products and sell them again. So counterfeiting or imitating or copying or forging, they mean the same thing. It means stealing others' products, stealing others' property and sell it again. So if a company deals in counterfeiting, it means it is a corrupt company. For example, a company can counterfeit cosmetics and also it can counterfeit devices. So, counterfeiting is also considered as harmful and dangerous for the health of the individuals. For example, fake cosmetics may cause skin cancer, they may cause allergy, and also fake devices, they have a lot of drawbacks. For example, they don't last for a long time, they have a bad quality, etc. We move on to the fourth point. When do we consider a company as being corrupt? Is when a company evades or avoids paying taxes. So tax evasion is also a sign of a sign of corruption for companies. So tax evasion when using false accounting to pay less taxes. Some companies hide the financial status of it so that they fake or they give false accounting, false invoices, so that they don't reveal how much money they earn. The aim for that is to hide the amount of money they earn, so that they don't pay a lot of taxes. So tax evasion is another example of corruption which is done by companies so that to pay less taxes. Now we move on to corruption that involves officials, namely individuals, managers, and employees. So we can say that an official is a corrupt official is when he or she accepts and gives bribes. A bribe can be a sum of money, it can be a gift anyway. So bribe is considered as under table payment. It's payment which is done to officials so that they give favor to other people. So officials who accept or give bribery is considered as corrupt official. So an employee is considered as a corrupt employee when he or she embezzles from banks. It means when he or she steals money from the bank. Number three, an official is considered as corrupt official or employee or manager when he or she is guilty of nepotism. It means when he uses his power, he uses his authority to give jobs illegally to his family members, to his relatives and friends. And lastly, we can consider officials as being corrupt when they smuggle. When they smuggle, it means when they steal things from companies or when they steal things from one place to another, from one country to another. So smuggling is another example of corruption. However, employees and managers and even officials, they can be honest, they can be loyal when they reveal corruption to the police. So when an employee is working in a corrupt company and he doesn't accept that, he doesn't accept that the code of ethics is broken, is violated, so he reveals, he gives, he uncovers information about corruption to the police, so that the police they take action and they intervene to stop this corruption. So the employees who does this work are called whistleblowers. So whistleblower is a person who publicly exposes corruption or wrongdoing to the police or to the authority. Now we have arrived to the last point in today's lesson, which is how to fight corruption. Now we can fight corruption if we apply the following points. Number one, create anti-corruption associations which will publish reports about corrupt companies and individuals. Number two, appoint honest civil servants. It means appoint honest employees, appoint honest managers who are not corrupt, who doesn't accept bribery, who doesn't give bribery, who doesn't smuggle, who is not guilty of nepotism, etc. So appointing honest civil servants will help make an end to corruption. Number three, appointing independent judiciary. Now, appointing independent judiciary is a very important step for fighting corruption, because corruption is widespread in countries whose judiciary is not independent, whose judiciary is dependent. It means the judges are appointed by the president, the judges are appointed by the prime minister, etc. So we should appoint independent judiciary, it means judges, so that they take the right decisions, so that they punish corrupt officials, corrupt managers, and corrupt companies. Number four, so we can fight corruption if we pass stringent, it means severe laws and regulations. If we pass stringent laws, we can imprison corrupt people, we can imprison corrupt officials, and we can punish severely corrupt companies. And lastly, if we want to fight corruption, we need to promote anti-corruption education in schools, including primary schools, middle schools, secondary schools, and even university. So the goal of anti-corruption education is to raise the awareness of the young generation, concerning the bad consequences, the dangerous consequences of corruption at the individual, at the society, and at the country. Thank you very much indeed, dear students. I hope you have learned things from today's lesson. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you receive notifications once we upload a new video. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye.